What an election it's turned out to be. This Maharashtra election, which clearly was a wave election which nobody saw coming, it's an election which has confused, which has confounded analysts, journalists, psephologists, pollsters, bureaucrats, and even some of those politicians who ended up on the winning side. Now, there are several questions, there are several insights which can be derived from this verdict which has been delivered in the state of Maharashtra. The biggest of them all is what has now come out via a post-poll survey which has been done by CSDS. This post-poll survey which has been done by CSDS, if you take a good hard long look at it, it points out that the Muslim vote in Maharashtra, which so far has been assumed both by the Congress and let's say the MVA alliance in totality, in seats which were dominated by the Muslims, which means in seats in Maharashtra where Muslim population was more than 20%, even on those seats, it appears now that the Mahayuti had an edge over the MVA. So the whole argument that was made that this was an election which got polarized because of ek hai to safe hai, batenge to katenge, or the statement which was made by Sajjad Nomani on one side and Devendra Fadnavis on the other, with Mr. Nomani literally bringing out a fatwa of sorts and Devendra Fadnavis challenging Asauddin Owaisi that even dogs were not going to pee on a Maharashtra if Maharashtra was to be the identity of Aurangzeb. What does all this point us towards? If you look at the hard numbers, in the 2024 general elections, the Mahavikas Aghadi's Muslim vote was 50%. However, in the assembly elections which have now concluded, that 50% vote share has come down by almost 14%. So what changed in this entire time span of say 4 months that suddenly the Muslims which were looking at the MVA as an option in the general elections are not looking at the MVA anymore in the assembly elections? Honestly speaking, there are many examples across the country where voting behavior has been different between Lok Sabha elections and the subsequent assembly elections. Bihar assembly elections of 2005, 2015, Delhi assembly elections on 2 occasions, both in 2014 and 2019, 7 Lok Sabha seats in Delhi in 14 and in 19 were with the BJP. If you extrapolate Lok Sabha to assembly, a gap of roughly 20,000 votes per assembly segment was scored over by Arvind Kejriwal in the assembly elections. Is something similar happening in Maharashtra? But in the assembly elections in Delhi or in Bihar, there were 2 big leaders. Arvind Kejriwal had made a mark in Delhi. Nitish Kumar was one of the tallest leaders ever to have come on the political turf of the state of Bihar. Do we say that Eknath Shinde today, in partnership with Devendra Fadnavis, became so big and so huge that all this gap which existed between the MVA and the Mahayuti in the Lok Sabha elections of 2024, together these 2 leaders between Mr. Fadnavis and Mr. Shinde, they become so big that they've managed to score over that gap? Is it that this Ladki Behan Yojana, which has consistently been spoken about, has this scheme of giving direct cash to women account holders in the state of Maharashtra, has this ended up creating a religion-less and a caste-less voting community, which is the women voting community? Now just go back in time, folks. Whether it's the southern parts of the country or the northern parts of the country or the western parts of the country, the reality is that cash, liquor, all kinds of promises have always been doled out on election eve. Have you forgotten how mixies, sarees, jewelry, necklaces, even cash for marriages, all this has been pointed out in the southern states. Now in the state of Maharashtra, are Hindus, Muslims, Dalits, Adivasis, forwards, backwards, the women voting community, is it emerging as a new voting community? Now take the same argument in the state of Telangana. The state of Telangana, led by a Congress chief minister, has made tall commitments about looking after minority interests. But is it really walking the talk? Is it not true that the subsidies, the benefits which Revanth Reddy-led government in the state of Telangana wanted to offer to the minority community, have those promises been really implemented? Look at the state of Telangana. It has almost 12% Muslim population. But do you know a party like the Congress party, which is also in power in the state of Karnataka and has consistently made promises for the minority community, is not implementing the same promises which is making in the state of Karnataka, in the state of Telangana? Do you know that there is not a single Muslim minister in the state of Telangana? How is it that the Congress party, which can, in an unofficial way, wanting to be a beneficiary of Sajjad Nomani's clarion calls of vote fatwas and vote jihads in Maharashtra, how is it that when it comes to Telangana, the same Congress party doesn't seem to be on the same page when it comes to looking after minority interests? Look at Musi riverfront. Revanth Reddy wanted to completely change this riverfront in an area dominated by the minorities, a river which is known to be a great source of inspiration for the minority community. How is it that Charminar, the iconic imagery of the state of Telangana, of Hyderabad, is it not true that Revanth Reddy wanted to remove this iconic image from the state emblem? What does all this point us towards? The basic allegation which has been made against the Congress party by the BJP for the longest time has been just this, that the Congress only and only uses the minority vote for its electoral purposes. What is happening in Telangana? Does it not point us in that direction only? Is it that what we are now seeing in Maharashtra actually may end up having ripple impact in the state of Telangana? In Maharashtra, if Muslims are showing tendencies, are showing signs of moving away from a political disposition consisting of the Congress party, could it end up being aggravated, say, in the state of Telangana? In the national capital, in Delhi, the Congress party wants to fight on its own because it feels that it can make an impact in minority-dominated areas of the national capital in the forthcoming assembly elections next year. Will what has happened in Maharashtra and the controversy after controversy which is unfolding now in Telangana, can all this end up making the Congress blindsided, slightly unsure about whether the Muslim vote is still with the Congress party or not? Revanth Reddy really needs to think long and hard about this vote base. The Congress has made tall promises. The Congress has assured the Muslim community that whatever was there in its election manifesto is going to be implemented. But how many of those promises are being implemented is a question which Mr. Reddy must ask himself.